Hello, welcome to another rendition of Math is Easy, Step by Step. In this third video, or part 3, I'd like to talk about multiplying with variables. And remember, variables are just symbols. They're the symbols of an unknown real number. Some of the most common variables in mathematics you'll see are x, y, z, a, b, c. But any symbol will represent a variable. Again, that's a real number. We just don't know what it is yet. And in this example, I could talk about multiplying with variables. But first, let's go over understanding some symbols for multiplying with variables. And so let's just get right on into it, right? These are some symbols that represent multiplication. You have a dot. Some people say it's a decimal. Some people say it looks like a decimal, but really this symbol means multiplication. 3 times 3, right? Or maybe you've seen it kind of like an X, right? A multiplication symbol. 3 times 3. Or maybe you've seen a number. Nope, no, it's not hashtag. That's a number. Again, of another variable with a variable, but here this number is showing you 3 right next to a letter y, which is a variable. Means multiplication. Anytime you have a number, that's a number 3 attached to the y, like you see here, that means multiplications. And of course, another way you can see it's a number, parentheses, another number inside. That also will be an indicator of multiplications. Now back to this hashtag or number symbol. This could be considered a variable. And what's the real number representing this variable? I'm showing you it's a 3, right? But we don't know. This is a different variable. It's a different symbol representing a real number. And I don't know what that is yet, right? So that's just an example of variables, right? And these are all examples of what multiplication looks like when you're performing mathematics. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these examples here. I'm going to show you x times 3. Well, that's an invisible 1 in front of that x. What's 3 times 1? It's 3, and you need to keep that x with you. Here you have 3 times, right? That's a multiplication symbol for times. It's not a variable. It's not an x variable. This is multiplication. 3 times y. Remember, there's an invisible 1 in front of that y. 3 times 1 is 3y. And of course, this is just another means. 3 times an invisible 1 is 3y. This just means 3 times y. And here, you could have a number times another number. And here there's no variables. I'm just showing you this is a multiplication symbol. 3 times 5. Many people will look at this, and this is exactly what you would call distribution. You would distribute or multiply everything on the outside of the parentheses with everything on the inside of the parentheses. Here we have one term. 3 times 5 is 15. And again, that would be called distribution property. You multiply that 3 times every term inside the parentheses. So let's go ahead and take a look at dividing, some dividing symbols. And here, I'm not sure if I go over in any examples other than just showing you what it will look like if you have a variable and you're going to be dividing with variables. If you'd like to see some examples of dividing with variables, you can go ahead and take a look at some of my prior videos. Invisible ones, I think, is one of them that will show you some examples of dividing with variables. So here I'm just going to go over the symbols for some examples of dividing with variables. What does dividing look like? Well, it could look like a few different things, right? This is a division symbol, of course. Most of us are familiar with that. Or you could have a number divided by another number. Every fraction, I teach this in my fraction video, every fraction is a division problem. So a number divided by another number. And I'll show you some examples of that. Or you have a fraction divided by a fraction, right? you have a numerator number, denominator divided by another numerator divided by a denominator. That's what it could look like. And so let's go ahead and take a look at some of these dividing examples. As you can see here, we have the division symbol most of us are familiar with, 3 divided by 3. Or a number divided by a number, you have 3 divided by 3. Or, of course, this here, fraction divided by a fraction. I'm going to show that to you next here. We have a fraction divided by a fraction. So 3 divided by 3 can also be written as 3 divided by 3. This is just another example of using the division symbol. X divided by 1 would look like x divided by 1. It's the same thing. Coming back here to a fraction divided by a fraction, you could also rewrite that as 1/2 or fraction divided by a fraction. And so to finish off the examples here, I'd like to show you again, x divided by 1 can be rewritten as x divided by 1, or x over 1 as a fraction is x divided by 1. And here's just another example of a fraction with a variable divided by another fraction with a variable. And so if you get into some of my division videos, I will show you how to convert a fraction divided by a fraction and convert that into a multiplication if you are interested. Hey, thank you for joining me. Math is easy. Take it step by step.